Hey, Nickie Brown here. No matter where you are and what part of the world you are in, I hope that you are having a good day. So, I am going to do something a little different. Now, I bought these brioche buns for my veggie burgers, but I'm in the mood for something sweet. And as I said in my previous veggie burger video, no, these are not vegan. Part of me wants to toast it, but part of me doesn't. So, what I am gonna do is get my peach marmalade that I made. And for some reason, I'm just gonna have a little chat because this was on my mind. I'm so thankful for my spiritual growth and elevation because I used to have outbursts, right? And what do I mean by that? Like, if somebody did something to me that I found offensive, I would hold it in. And then I would just have a very sharp outburst. Some might call it mean. And it probably was, but I would just have an outburst, but it would be after weeks or months or even sometimes years. And I don't like to, for the most part, I'm good at controlling my emotions. But again, depending on what the person has done and depending on how long it has been, sometimes in the past, I've had outbursts. Again, I've done a lot of spiritual healing, so I'm thankful. But I'm looking back at a time when there was a young lady at a job I was working at. And I didn't realize at first that she admired me. She would just come in and look me up and down, you know, wanting to know what I had on and where I got it from. And I'm like, why? Like, who does that? Like, who does that? Oh, nobody does that. You don't ask people that. You don't, I don't know. I'm a very private person. Plus, I don't know. I mean, I guess there's nothing wrong with asking someone where they got someone from. But at the same time, at that point in time, I felt that it was kind of rude. And maybe it wasn't rude, and maybe it was the way that she was asking or the way she was going about it that I found to be a little rude. And then again, like I said, after the fact, I realized it was because she was a little younger than me, maybe about 10 years. And she was just admiring, you know, some of the things that I had on. But for you to come, she would come in and she would set herself down and she would immediately come over to where I was sitting to look and see what I had on. And like, and it was playful, but at the same time, it was like, what's really going on here? Like, I don't understand. And then, it, you know, I perceived her as just really saying some slick stuff. Like, you know, like I didn't understand what was going on at first. And then we were in, took maybe about a month or month and a half, something like that. I was having a conversation with this young lady who was pregnant. And by the time she gave birth, it would have been maybe 3 or 4 months, and her child would have been like, in a few, like after she had the baby, about 3 or 4 months afterwards, maybe not even 3 or 4 months, her baby may have been like a month old. And she was like, oh, I can't wait to have my baby so that we can celebrate Christmas. And I didn't understand. I genuinely did not understand. I was like, well, why are you excited about Christmas when, like, basically your child will still be a baby and doesn't know anything about Christmas? And she said, oh, because my family will be there and they'll be able to hold him and blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, okay. And then I was getting ready to ask her another question. And this chick says, oh, well, I would be excited about, or something along those lines. I would want my baby to be there for Christmas too, or something like that. She would be excited. Now, she didn't have any kids, and I wasn't talking to her, right? And again, I had another question for the other young lady. So when she interrupted the conversation that time, I just snapped. And I felt so bad afterwards. And that's one of the things, like, I don't like to be aggressive or mean, because when you know, I may hold it in for a very long time, but when I do snap, it's ugly. Like, if you know anybody else who's an Aquarius, like, you know, we don't go from 0 to 100. We go from 0 to 1,000. And we can really hurt people. But then again, like I said, we feel bad afterwards. Most of the time. You know, some of us may apologize. Some of us may not. At that point, I didn't apologize. Like, you know, but she was crying again and I felt bad. Then there was another young lady. And it brought me to this, right? I said, you know, good morning, so-and-so. And she said she was about 20-something. And I'm over 40, right? Old enough to be her mom. And she goes, hey, girl. And it just ran through my soul. And I think it's because I understand that girl, that term girl or boy, has its roots in a very oppressive time in this country. And it comes with a certain mentality. And me being from the north and living from the south, like, for, you know, for most people in the south, this is acceptable. And I haven't been in the north in a long time, so I don't know if it's become acceptable there. But again, I know where the roots come from, right? So I don't like it. But again, it's like, okay, this is how people talk to one another. So being that you're in the south, you can either accept it or not accept it. I still don't like it. I'm not sure what grown man likes being called boy. And as a, you know, as a mature, I shouldn't even say grown, because I feel different about that word grown. But as a mature woman, I don't like that word girl, especially coming from someone who I'm old enough to be her mom or even his mom. But again, like, I know 20 years old who their grandparents are in their 60s and 70s, and they'll call their grandparent girl. And so again, this is something that's socially acceptable in certain regions of the country. Whereas when I was growing up, if I dared call my mother girl, she would have slapped me across the room somewhere. Even my grandmother, she would have let me have it. So for me, it's actually a level of respect. But for, again, certain people, it's not created equal. And then again, like I said, I understand where the roots come from. So I kind of think of it a little different. But anyway, I'm done with my sandwich. So I put my peach marmalade that I made down at the bottom, and then I put bananas on top, and then I put my crunchy almond butter, and it is on a brioche bun. And this is my snack. So that's other young lady. So the first incident was around maybe 2015-ish. And the second incident, what's this, 22, was maybe around 2019. And the second girl, I didn't say it mean. I just said I don't like to be called girl. I think that it's rude. But because I said it in front of other people, it made her upset, and she started to cry, which I had no idea that she started to cry until someone else came and told me that it made her cry. So when I realized that it made her cry, I did apologize. So again, I am thankful for my growth, right? And we all have that space and room to grow and be a better person, because sometimes we don't know. Sometimes, again, we just have this buildup and then an outburst. And then sometimes we unintentionally hurt people's feelings. And it's okay to apologize if you hurt someone's feelings by mistake, because you didn't know. I got a lot of flack for that. Like, oh, even one girl said, oh, yeah, she apologized. But after the fact, first of all, who even asked you? I've done nothing to you. Right? And, you know, but anyway, that was her friend. They were close, whatever. I don't know if they still talk. And, you know, the young lady accepted my apology. Now, she's a Leo, and, you know, whether she was holding a grudge secretly, I don't know. I may never know, right? But I did what I needed to do, which was to apologize. And whether she genuinely accepted my apology or not, I did what I needed to do for my own growth and my own healing. Because like I said, in the first incident, I didn't apologize. And I did feel bad because I saw her crying. And I don't like to see people cry. I don't like to hurt people's feelings. And so again, like I said, I felt bad. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and enjoy my sandwich. I'm not sure why I felt like I needed to share that. But that was on my mind based on something I just saw on the book. So I decided to share. And I hope that it was helpful to you in your growth. We are all a work in progress. And so, as always, I love y'all. Mwah. Later.